because, it's Valentine's Day. Let me know in the comments if you guys have plans, if you're just kind of laying low, if you're going to just binge, like, I don't know, some kind of TV show or something, or, what you guys are reading or what you guys are watching. I've just finished a book and it wasn't that great. And it was a debut author, so I'm not going to talk about it on the channel. Um, it just kind of had this plot that sort of went everywhere from the middle of the book. And I'm not quite sure why the editor didn't say, hey, you need to corral this in. And I think she was maybe rushing towards the end of the book. It just wasn't that good. I really skimmed a lot of it. And then when I got to the ending, I was like, this ending doesn't even make any sense. There was no motivation for the character to do this. And I didn't see any flags that said that this particular twist was coming. I love it when it's a twist that I don't see coming, but as soon as it happens, I see all the things that hinted at it. And this book just really didn't do that. So it's not one that I won't talk about the book itself on the channel because I don't believe in bashing other authors ever. I never leave bad reviews. I never talk badly about other authors' books because, you put your heart into it. You worked really, really hard. And just because I don't like it, it doesn't make me the be all end all authority on what a good book is. What I like may not be what somebody else likes, or what you guys like may not be what I like. That's what makes the world go round. There's a type of book for every single person out there. And she got this published and it's by a reputable publisher. So, they saw something in it that I didn't, but it doesn't mean that it shouldn't have been published. It was okay. So I've got a new book on tap. I don't even remember what the title is. I have this box. I think I told you guys a while ago, I went to this used bookstore and I got 42 books there. And then right after that, I went to BoucherCon and I got like 22 books there. So I have a huge box of books on my to be read to get through. And then I keep adding ones into my wish list for ones I want to buy and read as well. And then I'm listening to the sequel to The Perfect Marriage on Audible. This one is The Perfect Divorce, and I'm not loving The Perfect Divorce as much as I love The Perfect Marriage, but it's because one of the characters is like super evil and I just want him to be killed off. Like just kill him already. But I'm almost done with the book, so I don't think that's going to happen. We are watching on TV at our house. We're watching Lost in Space, and both of us really can't stand Parker Posey's character, the scientist, or not scientist, the doctor. And we just keep saying every episode that we wish they would just kill her off. Even though I've seen the original Lost in Space, I know the doctor's a big part of the plot, but it's cool. And Dexter said, perfect. Now all we need is to persuade our mentor to work on a checklist. I do have a checklist, but so many things have been added to my checklist that I need to write up a new one. So this has almost everything on it that I've got, except for like doing the chat, which is just a brand new thing for me. And then, like I said, I think they had an update because I'm looking at the screen and the screen looks different than it did last week. So I think that the update did something with my audio. So I'm going to pretend that it was not my fault at all, even though it probably was. A Mighty Wind, the movie. I don't think I've ever seen that, Heather, but that sounds cool. A movie night with friends sounds really good. And the Sharon K. Penman Welsh trilogy. Ooh, Welsh sounds really interesting. I read something that was Welsh, I don't know, maybe last year. I really love when it's well done in another country or another culture and you really feel like you're immersed in it. I felt that way about the Bad Bunny halftime show. I think I've watched the halftime show like 10 times, partly because I loved the artistry of it. I'm not a huge fan of Bad Bunny's music, but I loved the artistry of it. I loved the storytelling of it. And then as I read all these articles about how it came together and what each of those things meant, I loved the way that he was able to tell a story with visuals, which is a great lesson for anybody that is a creator or anybody that is a storyteller. And speaking of storytelling, I did record my first episode of the podcast, which is an interview with my daughter. I'm editing it right now, and I don't want the podcast to take the place of the channel videos. So it should come out kind of soon. But I don't know that it will be out next week because it's an hour-long interview with her talking about writing song lyrics and how that compares to writing books. And she does a lot of the things that I talk about on the channel. And it's funny because we've never talked about how to write, except when we were doing the books that we did about 20 years ago. But she instinctively does a lot of the things that I talk about here on the channel. I'd like to think that it was just learned by osmosis, but I honestly think she's more creative and a better writer than me. She's really, really good. So you guys should enjoy that interview because I talk about how she puts these things into the lyrics that really capture something in like 5 words. So it's amazing. And Kestrel, my daughter will be so thrilled to hear that you love Before You Bloom. That is her handwriting, she said on the video, if you see the video. And we do go into depth about Before You Bloom, which is right here, because I highlighted a bunch of lines. Look how many things I liked about it. It's not just because I'm her mother. I love the way she writes. So I'm so excited that you said that. And I will tell her as soon as I'm off the live stream because she'll be very excited about it. And Heather said that Mighty Wind is a Christopher Guest film with Catherine O'Hara. Oh, Catherine O'Hara. I love her. It's sweet and funny. She was an amazing actress. And love the video visuals. Yes, she did a great job with that. She's grown so much as a musician. And I even talked to her about that in the podcast about how I looked at some of her earlier work. We kind of went through 5 different songs that she had picked. And she has grown so much as a musician that I've loved seeing how her writing has gotten stronger and her imagery has gotten stronger as well. And yes, the Kestrel, the statement with the halftime show, it was really, really cool. Like when you realize that like the light blue guy boxing the guy with the dark blue, like that was the whole battle over the Puerto Rican flag, like to be able to show that the battle over changing the Puerto Rican flag with just 2 guys boxing as he walks by. He doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't make a verbal statement. He doesn't sing about it. It's just right there in that visual. That's something you guys can take from and learn from, because you can take something as small as that and put it into your book and have like almost an Easter egg, not really, but kind of like that, where a really sharp-eyed reader will get it and see that you're referencing something that maybe you wrote about before, or something that is important in your book's world that you're putting in there. I do a lot of environmental things in my books, and they're just really nods to climate change and to, because you guys know, you see me talk about my butterflies and everything. Like I really feel like it's important to talk about these things, but I'm not hammering my readers with, you must, start recycling. Instead, I put, a story about like Oliver Ridley turtles in one of my books, and just talking about their migration patterns and how they've changed, because there's something that ties in with the heroine in the book with that. But she's not like an environmentalist who's just like bashing the hero over the head with it. I have another book where I put in a whale that goes by, and they're seeing that and sort of using the whale imagery as a way to get across a message without getting across a message. I don't want people to read my books and say, oh my God, they're so political. Although I did have a reader get super mad at me because oh my God, I can't remember when that book came out. I think it was 2004 when my book, The Bride Wore Chocolate, originally came out. I had a joke in there about a far right wing Republican, and that was before this whole world became so stinking crazy. And it was a joke in the character's like point of view. And oh my gosh, I got this like really incensed letter from this woman a few years later that was like, I clearly can tell how you vote, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it was a joke and it's a novel. And just because my character says it doesn't mean I'm saying it, and just go away. I didn't actually write back to her because, yeah, life's too short for that. But anyways, you can do a lot with what you're doing with your visuals to create your story in other ways. It doesn't just have to be what you are putting into the words. It can just be the things that you show and don't show. That can give away a lot. So let's do our first sprint. We'll do 15 minutes and then we'll come back. Yeah, Kestrel. Oh, you would not believe some of the letters I've gotten. I will tell you guys some stories when we come back. Because I actually had a guy that called me a month ago. Anyway, let's do a sprint and we'll come back. Look at that. That was good. I got to finish my Substack post and because I was like a paragraph away from being done when the live stream came up, and then I started working on my book. So, yeah. Um, let's see. Dexter said, imagine getting a reply from the author with just a couple of awesome insights into fictional point of view that sets you on a whole new life path. Well, I will sometimes reply to people that ask me questions and just give them stuff, but people that send mean letters, no, I definitely don't reply. And Dexter said, I could write about that. I'd get readers wondering, what does he really believe anyways? Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Um, And I like your writing prompt reply too, except for my newest draft. There'd been anger, heartbreak, and I thought you'd understand. I thought you were who you said. I thought you loved me. I did love the lass you said you were, but she's a mirage. Nice. Okay, cool. And Martha is here. Nice to see you. And Silverali is working on revising a scene. I'm revising my scene too. It's like a new character. I decided to, not a new character, a character that currently exists in the book, but I wanted to add more with her. So I'm giving her her own plot line. I was like tossing and turning about this book for weeks and realized that this other plot line is just never going to work. So I'm going to take it out and make it its own book. And I kind of realized what the plot will be for that. I did want to drop in here my Substack in case you, oh, wait, I don't think that's my, maybe that is my link. I have a Substack that's under Shirley Jump. And I share a lot more, like, because these are long, like written, like blog posts. And then there's also videos because some people watch just the videos on Substack. Some people just do the reading. I do both depending on where I'm at during the day. Like at work, I'm not going to watch all the videos, but I'll read some of the Substack posts. And they're a lot more kind of personal stories. Like today, I talked about the first time I got a contract and what somebody said to me. And it's ironic that we were talking about the mean reader because it was a mean-ish comment to me when I sold my first book. So, and Kestrel's working on a painting, not writing, but it's a Valentine's gift for my husband. I like that. That's a really cool gift. My husband got an almond joy bar. So we don't do a big thing for Valentine's Day. Our anniversary is only a couple months away, so we'll do something then. And it's so funny, like he's not into that kind of thing. He's got 2 engineering degrees, so he's very left-brained and I'm very right-brained. So I'm always trying to think of something creative that he will like. And a couple years ago for our first anniversary, I got him one of those like family things that you can get on Etsy that has all the family member names and the date we got married and stuff, like the date the family was established. And I got all of our whole family painted on there as robins with our different kids in their age order. And I thought it was like the most brilliant thing ever because he likes birds. We have a bunch of bird feeders in the backyard. I thought he would love it. He opens it up and he looks at it and he's like, "You got this for you, didn't you?" And I was like, "No, I thought you'd love it." He was like, "Really?" Like he would have been happy with a t-shirt. He just does not think in that, romantic kind of way, but he is romantic in other ways. So like he will come in singing a song that he heard on the radio that reminded him of me and stuff like that. So he's romantic in other ways. He just doesn't want that getting out into the world. So and Maria oh, thank you, Martha, for subscribing to my Substack. I appreciate that. I have like 6 subscribers, so I'm really happy if anybody subscribes to it. I started Substack because of like all of these takeovers with other social media. The difference with Substack is that you own your audience and it's like having a newsletter because I own that list. Whereas on TikTok or whatever, I don't own the list of people that subscribe to me. So if I ever like had to leave TikTok because I got banned or something, or if I ever had to leave YouTube because I got banned, I have no way of telling people. I can post on my community page, I guess, on YouTube, but not everybody sees it. On Substack, you have that email list, and it is yours to send out emails when something happens or something changes, so you guys would know, if I was moving on to this or releasing a book or whatever I was doing. So I'm not super active on Substack. I'm trying to be better about it because I actually had somebody reach out to me and say, "I want to see more of your writing tips." And I'm like, yeah, there's one me, and this one me is trying her best to still create stuff. And yes, Kestrel, still creation. I do like that. And Maria got back into a book she put on the shelf when she was finishing up her trilogy. So that is awesome. What was I going to, I was going to tell you guys the story about the guy who called me. Like he first texted me, and you know how there's like that scammy text thing that you get where it's like somebody that you don't know and it's a no name number and it's like, "Hey, I missed seeing you for coffee last week." So you think that it's somebody that you know, and so then when you reply it's like some scam artist like telling you you've been inherited $1,000,000 if only you send them 100,000. So when I saw the text message and it was in relationship to one of my books, it was about one of my books, I kind of dismissed it. I also get lots of like scammy emails like, "We want to invite you to talk about some book I wrote 22 years ago with our book club." So I know that that's fake. So I just ignored it. And then I'm driving home from Tampa one day and this guy calls me, and I just sent it straight to voicemail. I'm like, I'm not talking to some random stranger who paid the money to see my cell. He called me on my cell phone number. I don't even know how he got that. And and he left me this long rambly voicemail about how much he wanted to talk to me about my books and stuff. And I was like, no. So I kept the voicemail in case anything weird ever happens, because I have had some like letters from prisoners back when I was writing a lot of romance. I would get these really creepy letters from prisoners who had read my romance novels and had thoughts. So I keep those things just in case. But yeah, that was really, really weird. I've had another guy that had a book called The Tycoon's Proposal, I think it was. And this was for HarperCollins, for Harlequin. So I don't really get a lot of say over the covers there. Their art department does what their art department's going to want. You tell them what you think it should be, and then they do what they want. And I swear sometimes they're doing drugs on their lunch break because some of my covers are so hideous. And he sent me this long message about how they run this improv comedy group somewhere in the middle of the country. And they did a whole improv comedy thing about my book. And they had somebody dress up on the stage like the heroine on the cover. And how mad he was that when he read the book, she never actually wore a dress that color. On the cover, it's purple, and she wears a white dress in the book. And, I really should never defraud people like that with my cover. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And then he told me that they murdered the person in the improv and threw her in a grave because they were so mad about the fraud I committed with my book. I mean, people are nuts. People are nuts. It was the craziest thing ever. And he thought I would be flattered, and I'm like, why would I be flattered? You're yelling at me for something I have zero control over, and you're telling me that you murdered my character because you didn't like the colored dress she had on. People are so weird. And yes, Kestrel, it is so creepy. I was really weirded out by that, because if he has my cell phone number, then he can clearly get my address. It's not like it's rocket science. For $30, anybody can get anybody's address. And yeah, I don't know. It was just bizarre. People are so weird. Thankfully, that it's a very small subset of people that are very weird. But I don't know who thinks I'm just going to call an author randomly on her cell phone. Like, can you imagine if like you just called up Stephen King? Yo, I want to talk about your book. Yeah, I don't know. People are bizarre. I do get super excited though when I see Stephen King on Threads just like randomly comment on stuff. Like, people will ask, "What's the best Stephen King book to read?" And they don't even tag him. He just sees it, and he'll be like, "Hey, I really liked The Stand," or something like that. And some people don't get it right away, and then other people are just like, "Oh my God, it's Stephen King!" Like, literally, if Stephen King just replied randomly to a post I put on the internet, I would create a bumper sticker out of that and tell the entire world. It would be so cool. Um, Heather, people are pretty heavily medicated in this country and highly overstimulated. Yes. And I think the lockdowns around the world made a lot of people kind of crazy. I remember having, after lockdown ended, I was in the grocery store, and there was this little old man I'd never seen before in my life cross the grocery store to try to hug me. And I was like, no, like, I'm sorry that you feel lonely, but I am not a person that likes other people to touch me if I don't know you. So yeah, no, we did not hug him. And Kestrel reasons I don't actually want a huge audience. Yeah. But the story that I share in my Substack today, and it was in that podcast interview that I did, that story was like a really cool moment that happened in my career, which only came because, I had enough people that knew about me that I ran into this reader in the bookstore. And so those kinds of moments are really, really cool. The weird people that call you, not so cool. But I do get lots of mail from people that just makes me feel really good. They're like I had a lady that was going through cancer treatments, and she read my book and she said it made her laugh. And that kind of stuff really means a lot. So I enjoy that. And nowadays people feel like they can tell you anything they want on social media. Like, plenty of people like to point out a typo and give me huge grief about it. And I'm like, at least 5 people have seen this book. And yes, we all missed this one word, but it happens. So yeah, that's what you get to look forward to. But you can ignore it. And the great thing is, like, you can block those people. You can hide them. If somebody says something really mean to me in a comment on the channel or on my other social media, I just hide their comment, let them talk to themselves, because on YouTube, you don't know that you've been hidden and you can just keep blasting the author and you're just talking to yourself. You have no idea. Or I block them if it's really obscene or really hurtful. I'll block them because I don't want my followers to read that comment and be triggered or upset or, feel like they need to leap to my defense or be upset because that person said something that triggers something inside of them. Because some people are really, really mean. So I'll just block them. I do like that feature. In the very beginning with the channel, I felt like I had to say something to every single person. And then I think it was my son that was just like, Mom, you don't have to say anything. Just block those people. Because yes, I did get the first to me, very mean comment on my channel when I was with all the kids, and they were like, "You can just block that person." I'm like, "Really?" So that's what I did. Yeah, it did make me feel better once I did that. And it's so weird that my camera looks super light on my camera screen, but on my screen here, it looks really dark, and I don't know why. Like, I have all my ring lights on. So if it's dark for you guys, I'm sorry. All right, let's do another sprint while we still have some more time, and we'll come back and have a question, or you want me to share another crazy reader story or crazy kind of writing story. I can totally share one. All right, see you guys in a few minutes. Okay, 15 minutes. Woohoo! That was good. You guys did great. And Diviz 9255, new here. So, and no, I totally won't ignore you if not relevant. Um, AI and LLMs, the new competition writers face given that others. Okay, and large language models. It took me a second to figure out LLM. And welcome to the live stream. So, what we do is we talk writing in between the writing sprints. Probably should have explained that at the beginning, but anyways, we write for about 15 minutes. I usually have a prompt, and then we talk writing in between. And AI, I use it to like create handouts. Like I'll take my transcript from my videos and then have it turn that into a handout because it just saves me all of the typing. It's stupid and gets stupider. Like sometimes if you try to push it to do more of what you were envisioning. Um, I think that there are going to be a lot of people that use AI to write books and they're going to not claim it on their Amazon. You're supposed to. You have a little box to check whether AI was used or not. And I think that the books will suffer. There is that woman that is making like 50K a month using AI to write romance novels. There's always somebody that's doing that, right? That's pumping out crap or just doing the bare minimum and making a ton of money. I read that her money's actually coming from teaching people how to use AI, not actually from books that readers are reading. Because I think that readers are very savvy to the stuff that is not that well done. And I think that it doesn't give them the experience that they want. There's just that nuance that is missing that comes from having your own heart and soul into it, your own gut things that you're writing about in your book. And I don't think that it will ever completely replace authors. I say that knowing full well that Anthropic stole 79 of my books out of the 87. I don't know what was wrong with the 8 they didn't take. 79 of my books in 5 different languages. So I am part of the Authors Guild lawsuit against Anthropic. Which is still BS because I know they have 79 of my books in 5 languages. I don't believe for a second that the files were corrupted. But either way, I think that there are going to be some disreputable people out there. I don't write because I want to make $1 billion. I write because I love to write. Like it makes me happy when I make money, and when I don't make money, it doesn't matter to me. It makes me happy to write. So the people that love to write, it will still write. I think it was a really long, rambly answer. Sorry. And yes, Dexter, quality will always find its community. I think that that is so true. Like even what you guys are watching on these channels on YouTube, there's plenty of people out there teaching you how to write a book. A good portion of them have no idea what the hell they're talking about because they've maybe written 1 or 2. And any of you who have written more than 1 undoubtedly know that you learn so much with the subsequent books that you write. Just like if you only take 1 road trip in your car, you have no idea what it's like to really drive for a long distance until you like take a few. If you only go like down to the neighborhood grocery, you don't have experience to drive all the way to California. You need to do more of it and practice at it, figure out what works for you, all of the different things that are your particular niche and your particular voice. And that way you become an experienced author and you can start to try to explain it to other people. And I think you have to have the knowledge based on real life experience too, but that's just me. I'm not a big fan of people that teach other people how to write when they actually have not been in the publishing trenches before, because I don't think that it's such a unique industry. It's like telling people how to write music when you've never performed on stage. I don't think if you have never done that industry for real that you know what you're talking about. So I had a professor in college and a high school teacher both tell me that I would never make money writing the kind of books that I wrote. And yeah, they were wrong. The college professor really liked James Joyce. I don't know if you've read James Joyce. I hated the books, hated the books. And I just thought that there were too many words and there was hardly any plot to them. Now, maybe I'll feel differently if I read them now in life instead of back in college, but I didn't like them. I liked popular fiction. I liked commercial fiction. I liked books that really grabbed me. And that's what I wanted to write. And so that has nothing to do with AI. Anyways. And Kestrel, I have such a hard time sitting down and writing the story that's in my head. Would AI be helpful for me? Maybe if it didn't suck so much, but I would never use it for creativity. Yeah, it might help you come up with some ideas. Like I used it one time to come up with like 10 different things that a kid that age would say, because I didn't actually have a kid that age at the time that I was writing something. And actually, like maybe one of them were realistic and the rest were just weird. And it's so like it's cheesy. Like if I put something in there, it's like, that's a really great idea. And I'm like, ew, ew, I don't like that you're just like, oh, I love that idea. We get so excited for you. It's like a puppy. It's, yeah. And Kestrel, I would rather write one chapter in 6 months than lose my integrity as a creative. I feel the same way. Like I do not want to do that. Now, I will say that I have a video that I recorded and I went into AI to write bad versions of things, and its bad version was not all that bad. Well, it was bad, but it did a pretty good bad version. Like I said, okay, give me a really bad version of an opening of a book, and then I asked it, give me a good version. And the good version was so bad that I was like, yeah, this is why I'm going to write the good version. I'm not going to use this. It still made all the mistakes that it made in the bad version. So you guys will see the AI versions of the wrong way, in my opinion, to do something in an upcoming video. And A Thousand Great Books, definitely try Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. Yeah, I think I read that in college, but I'm not sure. It was a long time ago. There's so many books to read. Like I said, I have like 40, like 50 or 60. I have 42 in the 22. I have like 60 books to read right now. So there's so many good books that I don't necessarily need to go back to college books. Think Food says, I'm working on a children's book and having issues selecting a title. Do you have any recommendations on how to create a catching children's title for grades 7 to 12? So you really want to, Kestrel AI is such an ass kisser. Yes. Yes, it is. It's gotten worse. ChatGPT just gets worse every time. Anyways, for the titles, you really want it to capture what you want the kid to connect with, right? Like the cover and the title and the back cover copy are all what sell that book to the kid. And so it depends on the age group and the type of book that you're writing. You've got 7 to 12, so those are probably chapter books, and those kids are going to need to be drawn in by something that will grab them more so than TikTok or Netflix or, I don't know, Minecraft, whatever they're doing. So what do they care about? What are they going to be invested in? With The Well and the Cellar, which I don't have here anymore. I talked about them in my podcast with my daughter. We captured it with the cover and then the very simple title of The Well and the Cellar, because they were horror young adult. So right there, just in The Well and the Cellar, it tells you this is something scary that happens in these dark places. And with other chapter books, you really want to capture if it's like about a kid that's been bullied or something like that, like those kinds of things that you're going to tap into, you want to find the word that will resonate with those kids. I guess that's kind of a rambly answer. I'm not sure that really answers your question. Titles are hard. I like titles that are juxtapositions. I talked about that in one of my videos on the channel. I really like when it's two things that go together, that don't go together, that work as a title, like Watch Me Disappear by Janelle Brown. That is a really intriguing title. And I don't remember what video it is that I talked about it in, but I did talk about all these different book titles and opening lines and how they have this juxtaposition. So if you look at the titles that are in that age group, look for the ones that are intriguing, because Watch Me Disappear says two different things at the same time. And that was what made me grab that book. It was the very first Janelle Brown book I ever read because I loved the juxtaposition. Before I Let Go is a Kennedy Ryan book. I liked the juxtaposition in that title. The Impossible Fortress by Jason Rekulak. It's a YA book, but it's a really great title. And it's 80s design and everything. It's a really, really good book, by the way. It's his first book, and it was excellent. It's probably the best, one of the very best YAs I've ever read. Trying to see what else I've got over there. Like I've got I'll Be You by Janelle Brown, also a really good title, because it implies two things at one time. So I love those kinds of things. Speaking of another really good young adult writer, I'm friends with her on Threads, and I know her in real life. Patty Blount does really good hard topics like sexual assault and things like that in her books for young adults. Really well written. So Kestrel said, do you mind me asking, is your starting song for this stream made by musicians? Yes. So it was made by a friend of mine who is a jingle writer, and they recorded it in the studio. I know him well. I've known him for many years. I did a favor. I wrote something for him, and he did the jingle for me. So it's real musicians. So it wouldn't be an AI thing. And it's actually very old. I've had it since I started the channel, which was before you could get AI stuff easily. And I just didn't use it anywhere. I just like didn't even think about using it. So it's going to be on my podcast and it'll be on my live stream. So it's real people in his studio, and I got to hear them sing it a little bit. So it was kind of cool. A Thousand Great Books. I settled on a title, but later found that it's already taken by another book. And yeah, you can absolutely use a title. Titles are not copyrightable. So I'm going to sneeze. So I'm just warning you guys. Titles are not copyrightable. So you can use them if somebody else has the same title, because it's almost impossible. There's only so many titles out there, just like songs. Some songs have the same name. But if the other books that have that same title have like a super bad review or are written by a super famous author, using that same title won't get you in trouble, but it could get you reader confusion. So if it's like James Patterson has one named the same thing, maybe not use that, just because that is hard. And it's hard to rise above the other author. I once had a book cover that was exactly the same as somebody else's in the same publishing house. The art department gave both of us the same cover. I do not know why. And it was a very distinctive cartoony kind of color cover back when those were popular. And her first name started with an S and ended with a Y. And people got our books confused everywhere. I would have people go, I just bought your new book. And they'd show me a picture. And I'm like, that's so-and-so's book. It's not my book. So I don't know what the art department was thinking. Like, we came out at the same time, like a month apart. It was just stupid. And I believe, Kestrel said, I believe it's important that all creatives get each other's back in terms of the AI BS. Yes, absolutely. I think that the joy of creativity is a big part of what keeps us here, what keeps us trying at this. And I think that if you're trying to appeal to readers that are reading AI slop books, you're never going to make them happy, because all they want is volume. And there are people that just read crap volume books, and there are people that write crap volume books, period. Like, they don't try that hard. They write a book every 2 weeks or whatever, and they're just pumping it out without any editing, without anything, and they're selling, because these people that are reading them just want volume. They don't necessarily want an experience. It's just like you can watch a lot of B movies, or you can watch some Oscar winners. You can fill your palette different ways. So I think that the people that are really committed to the craft will still be around and still have a market. And I hope so. I also think that people have a short that'll be coming out about this. I think people are going to be seeking authenticity. Like, they're going to want to feel like it was really created by a human. They want you to feel real on social media. They want you to feel real in real life. And I think they're going to still want that feeling in the books. So that's why it's so important to dig deep into the well of who you are and what you've gone through in order to write a good book. So yeah, right, Kestrel? I've had some crazy things in my career, honestly. Like, you never think it's going to happen to you, but I have friends that had crazy things happen. I've had crazy things happen. I've been in this industry for a very long time. So it's up and it's down. It's what's in my Substack post today about the ups and downs of the industry. I'm going to drop that link in again, just because I'm trying to be smart about it. Oops, wait, I copied something from my book and instead by accident, because I was copying and pasting something in the book. Okay, here is my Substack link. If you guys want to subscribe, because like I said, I do more kind of personal posts in there that I write, like blog posts. And Silver Alley, AI is good for stimulating ideas, but it's rubbish at human connections and emotions. Yes, because it's just this weird giant suck up. It's so creepy. I don't know. And there's so many things that have gone wrong with like Grok and stuff. Like, it's scary. And I don't like that it's always listening and watching. And one thing, in case you guys didn't know, if you don't pay for the AI service that you use, like if you use the free version of ChatGPT owns what you put into it. If you pay, ChatGPT is not allowed. As I said with Anthropic, I don't know that this is what they're abiding by, but they're not allowed to use what you feed it to train their models. So if you put it into the free version, it's theirs to do it as they wish. So especially if you have something that you feel very protective of, like this is your book idea, or you're trying to write your back cover blurb for this book that you've worked 5 years on, I would not recommend using a free version of an AI program, because it can spit that back out for somebody else, because it can use that as a training model. So pay the $6 a month or whatever it is to pay for the service if you really, really want to use it, so that all of that data is yours, not theirs. So just be careful. I didn't know that in the beginning. 1,000 Great Books had a question: do publishers let you choose your cover designer, or do you have to stick with what they got? Yes and no. So I get to have a lot of input on my cover with the publishing houses that I made money for. I mean, that's the long and short of it. If I have some publishing houses that I have written for where my books did very well. They went into multiple printings. They sold in Target and Walmart and stuff like that. And that's usually a sign that it did really, really well. They gave me a lot of input over the cover. I didn't get to choose the designer, but I got to be in on the entire process with the mock-ups and then changing this, changing that. I got to have a lot of input on my title and things like that. With other publishers that I didn't do as well for, or they produce more books like HarperCollins, I don't think they really care what I think about the cover. I mean, evidenced by some of my covers. They ask me. It depends on my editor, honestly, because some of my editors will fight for my cover design idea that I have, and some editors are just clocking in, clocking out. So I have a new editor this year at HarperCollins, so we'll see how that goes. It's a high turnover rate sometimes because it's a lot of work for not a ton of pay. So I appreciate the editors that do put the time in or fight for me to get the placement that I want, or to get the cover that I want, or to get whatever that I want through there. I've had some editors that have just been fantastic for me. And then I also have an agent, and if I really feel super strongly about something, she will go to bat for me. But in general, most of it is not a battle worth fighting, because you're just going to piss off the publisher and they'll be like, I don't think we're going to work with her again. So yes, absolutely, Kestrel. Just because they say they're not allowed doesn't mean they won't use it either way. Yes, that's why I'm convinced that Anthropic has all those books of mine in different languages, and they're just going to use them anyways. Because how will I ever know? I won't be able to Google, there's no way to Google either, right? Like, how do I Google a book that sounds like one of my books? I can't. So yeah, I don't trust Anthropic at all. Every time they come up on the news, I'm like, I hate them because they stole a lot and then claimed that that didn't work. And they really shorted the authors on what they should have been paid. So in the class action, but it is what it is. So I think we could have prevented this if we had fought Google more in the beginning when they first started taking everybody's books and putting them into the Google library. I think if people had thought further about what AI was going to do, we would have seen this coming. Because now looking back and seeing that Google took all of our books in the beginning to put them into the Google library so they're searchable, it was just an easy way for them to just go, oh, yep, we already have all these. Let's just go put them over here and start training this large language model. So anyhow, I appreciate you guys being here, especially on Valentine's Day, the day before Valentine's Day. I'm sure lots of you have plans or other things, even if it's just curling up with a good book or a cat and a great movie. Or not a good book and a great movie at the same time. Very hard to do. Be sure to join me next week. There's a possibility I'll have a Q&A on Monday. I'm waiting for somebody to schedule a meeting. And if I do, then I will put up a post on the community page over the weekend to ask for questions. I saw that I had a couple on the channel already, so I may do a live Q&A Monday. It's not guaranteed. It just depends on how this meeting ends up getting scheduled out. So I have good intentions to do that. So thank you guys for joining me, and we'll be back here next week.